start going beyond the guardrails that is already set by these companies that, hey, as a PM you should do this. No, you don't have to. As a PM, your job is to figure out what is that the customers are looking for, how you can beat competitors to get the features out faster. We did a webinar of how you could build a full-fledged application with Lyzr as a backend and Lovable as a front end. We had 1,500 viewers for a webinar, and this is the very first webinar we did on LinkedIn. I think that is what curiosity means, which is figure out what are the new tech available, how can that help you bring your ideas to life.
What new skills do you think PMs will have to pick up? What soft skills, what hard skills do you think will be more relevant?
Number one, run really fast, ship really fast, which is an advantage. And number two,
how should I think about product building at its core? What new way should I think about?
Think of your product with a...
Hello and welcome to another podcast. I'm Aditya, your host for today. I'm the co-founder of the Product Folks. And today I have with me Siva, who's the founder of Lyzr. Recently, we asked our community on what kind of guests they like to see, and there were no surprises at all. Almost everyone wanted to learn how to build AI products. So we thought, what's better than inviting a founder who's building an AI startup and decoding everything from the ground up. So Shiva, welcome to the podcast. Super grateful to have you.
Thanks, Aditya. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the discussion.
Absolutely. So let's start by getting to know you a little better. Why don't we kick off with your origin story, a quick snapshot of your career so far, and how did you get into entrepreneurship? And we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I think I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I'll settle the case right there. It was never a choice, or not that I got inspired by someone. It was always like that. I still remember when I was in my first or second grade, I think I used to make name labels at home, and I used to sell it to my friends. So that was, I think that was always by default. But having said that, I did my engineering, and post that I started my career as a software engineer, more so a Teradata developer for Tesco, the UK-based retail company. And after that, I did few product management roles before starting my own startup, first startup in 2015, which I bootstrapped to about 200 plus people, successfully exited, sold it for about $20 million to another large SI in India, and then moved to the US. So yeah, entrepreneurship was always the default setting for me.
Amazing, great to know that. And even more interestingly, since you started your career as a product manager in a way, right, in your early years, and it was probably a decade back, how would you describe the shift we are seeing from traditional product roles to agent first thinking, as we see, right? We have been hearing about it for a while now. I think been 3-4 years that we have been hearing that, hey, you need to think agent first, you need to think AI first. But how does it really translate in practical terms into actual work?
I mean, see, I was a product manager for Pearson in 2012. It is an education company, a $10 billion education company, world's number one education company. And as a product manager there, my job was to take care of their English coaching product that they had. And I used to visit to various centers, their franchisee centers, Dehradun, Meerut, Vizag, etc., to see what is happening at the centers. Now, today, if you take a product manager for a B2B SaaS company or an e-commerce company, obviously you don't have to visit these centers, but you still have to speak to your customers. So, in my view, the core essence of product management is to understand what your customers want and see whether your product can meet those demands and bring I would say, bring that satisfaction or the excitement that your customers get so that they can come back. So the core essence has never changed. It's just the tools have changed. We have more tools now for us to play around with, AI being one, right? So that's how I view the whole thing from a product management point of view. Take Lyzr, I'm the product manager. And I share that load with Jimmy, who's my co-founder and heads engineering, and Ani to an extent. Ani comes from a growth angle and looks into the product as well. But I'm still the lead product manager, And I would just say it's still speak to customers as much as possible, figure out what are their pain points, see whether our product addresses that, how do we build features to address them. The fundamentals have never changed. I think the tools have come to do your job better. I can think of, right, okay, how would ChatGPT, how would it have helped me back in 2012 when I was visiting and doing all things manually? Absolutely, yes. I can think of my productivity. I can think of my reasoning spectrum improve a lot. But otherwise, the fundamentals are always the same.
Absolutely. And I think, do you think PMs will have to pick up different skills in the near future? Because what we have been noticing is, like you said, the fundamentals are continuing to stay the same, but the way we build products are changing drastically, right?
Correct.
So they'll, I think you talk about agent architects a lot, right? In a way, do you think product managers will have to become these agent architects, and what are some skills that will be critical now? Because again, if the way we are building products is changing, maybe we'll have to adapt to this new world.
No, 100%. I think the tools have given us far more, I would say, freedom for us to do, and the turnaround time is a lot less now. For example, agent architects, a very interesting topic. I see that everyone should become an agent architect. Agent architect is not confined to a developer or a product manager. A marketing manager could become an agent architect for their field. A sales manager could become an agent architect to enable or to improve processes in their field. So everyone has to become an agent architect. Agent architect is a skill that has to be as, I would say, ubiquitous as writing an email. Everyone should be one. Now, coming back to the product managers, how are product managers using this tech today?
Well,
Something
just
like,
one question there. How would you define agent architects in very simple terms for our listeners?
yes, you look at a process that a human does, or combination of a human and software, decode it steps wise. Okay, what is really happening? Decode it, and figure out how this decoded steps could be now done by a combination of agents in a workflow manner. It could be workflow, the orchestration. There are a few different types of orchestration, but that is something you can decide based on how these things could be execute. I mean, I would say effectively done by a combination of AI agents. This process is called architecting in the agentic world. So the one who's able to do this effectively now becomes an agent architect. An agent architect, once they understand this framework, now you can use tools like Lyzr to build these agents, automate the workflow, test it, and then deploy in production. So this first part is something that everyone should learn to do, and it is not rocket science, to be honest. You open up ChatGPT and you just narrate what you see right in front of you. Okay, this is what's happening. There is person A who takes the document, goes to person B, gets the sign, goes to person C. Just narrate it. You will be able to see ChatGPT define it or break it down into individual agent run, I would say, agent executable things, and then from there on you combine them to become a to make it as a workflow. So this is what agent architect in version 1 looks like, and from there on you now develop new skills. Version 2 would be, okay, now I have decoded the whole thing. Can I now build it on Lyzr? What does it take? How do I learn to build it on Lyzr? Can I build some of it on N8N? So this is how now a product manager would start thinking. And then the version 3 is, okay, now build it on Lyzr. I have my backend ready. How can I bring this to life with a front end, with a database system, etc., without having to go to a developer? If you're a developer, you can do a lot more things, obviously. But if you're not a developer, like a product manager, can I bring something to life without having to even write one line of code? That is version 3. So you just kind of keep improving from version 1 to version 2 to version 3. But starting with version 1 is very important as an agent architect.
Absolutely. And to the second part of your question, I think you're talking about it, but I interjected with a question
Yeah.
about agent architects. But what new skills do you think PMs will have to pick up? What soft skills, what hard skills do you think will be more relevant now?
Yes, which is exactly, I think, what we just covered. So, PMs should be more curious. Don't restrain yourself to existing platforms. Yes, linear is good. There are a few other platforms that are good, but start going beyond the guardrails that is already set by these companies that, hey, as a PM, you should do this. No, you don't have to. As a PM, your job is to figure out what is that the customers are looking for, how you can beat competitors to get the features out faster, how can you have enough features to retain your customers. So that's how you should think about. So figure out what tools might work for you. Sometimes it might be above and beyond all these traditional tools that you're following. Take for example, we did a webinar of how you could build a full-fledged application with Lyzr as a backend and Lovable as a front end. Like we had 1,500, I would say, viewers for a webinar, and this is the very first webinar we did on LinkedIn. A couple of days back, I posted a post saying, "Hey, we wanted to run a cohort to train agent architects." Again, we had 1,500 plus signups for the same. I think that is what curiosity means, which is figure out what are the new tech available, how can that help you bring your ideas to life. If as a PM you're not able to bring your ideas to life, you're not able to communicate effectively, you lose the plot. And now with these tools, even if you are not a great communicator verbally, you can now communicate visually, saying, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking," and it's all about getting the point across to the engineering team, to the founding team, etc. So that's how the tools enable you today, with platforms like Lyzrs and Bolt and Lovables of the world. Just be curious and try them out. You won't know what really, I would say, works for you.
This is perfect. And recently I was reading somewhere that the baseline of every role, every function will increase suddenly, because now everyone will be able to communicate at a far superior level. Everyone will be able to create at a far higher quality, right? So that's completely relevant. Thanks for sharing that. Let's deep dive into Lyzr now, right? Let's start again with Lyzr's original story. What do you think was the initial idea, initial intent? What is it solving for? Why do you think this is a perfect time to be solving this?
Yeah. The story goes back to 2023. I got back to coding after almost 10 years of gap, running my previous startup and running a large
What nudged
business.
you? What made you come back to coding after a decade?
The APIs from GPT, I mean,
Huh.
interacting with large language models via code was very fascinating, to be honest. And the idea was, how do we uh, build applications now that has native LLMs. I mean, that have native capabilities to interact with LLMs and reason and think, and you don't have to hard code your connections or rules anymore. You can, in a dynamic way, you can have your software decide what to do next. So these are where the initial, I would say, reasons why I started coding again. And while I was building these initial set of applications, I used frameworks like LangChain, then GPT's, OpenAI's function calling, etc., autogens of the world. And I realized that, okay, this is good, but as a developer, I'm able to relate to it. But the world has probably 20 million, max 30 million developers. We are a massive economy, 7 trillion people here. And I thought, okay, what is a better way to take this technology to not only just developers, but also the non-developers, like product managers. You call them as citizen developers, you call them as business users, whatever definition that you want to put across. But the idea was to take this beautiful technology to more people. So that is how the Lyzr started. The whole idea for Lyzr started. Build a framework underneath first of all, so that your base is really strong. Then on top of that, build a beautiful UI which allows both developers and the business users to interact and build agents. So that's the origin story. It's just uh, I really loved the art of building with LLMs, and I just want to take it to uh, the common person here. And that could be a developer as well. If you look at Lyzr today, it's very developer friendly. We made it easier for developers to build and manage agents at scale, integrated with complex systems. But we are not leaving the citizen developer behind. The citizen developer can also build agents, multi-agent systems, and deploy things in production. So that's the whole, I would say, origin story of Lyzr. We just want to take this technology, which only developers had fun, and we want to take it to everyone else in the system.
Everyone. Absolutely, and I think we are personally big proponents of tools that allow anyone to be a builder, right? All of us have been trying out how we build great products with something like, say, Lovable or Replit or tools like that, and it gives immense power in the hands of anyone and everyone, right? So, great thought there. Can you walk us through how a PM or a product builder might go about building their first agent on Lyzr? Do you need to be
Yes.
technical? I think you mentioned that you don't need to be fairly technical, but how do I actually go about it? Let's say I have an idea. How does it actually look like when I personally want to build an agent?
Yes. Replit is a fantastic platform. Lovable, Bolt, all these are fantastic platforms. The primary difference is even Cursor, Windsurf, I will also add them in the same category. The primary difference is you could do wipe coding with Replit, Cursor, uh, Lovables of the world. But if you are not a developer, if you're a product manager, project manager, marketing managers, etc., when you do wipe coding, you're doing with via prompt and the software is built out, but the end product is it's one single entity. You think of SUVs that are being manufactured, right? You have what is that ladder on frame or frame on ladder kind of scenario, and then you have the monocoque, which is one single body that is built out. Both are SUVs, by the way, but building on a Replit or Cursor or Lovable is like building the whole unit together. If you want to go back and debug and do some things to the backend, you still have to go via prompt. You cannot go and debug the code and figure out what is happening. What Lyzr brings is a different approach to this problem. So with Lyzr, you can build your agents or multi-agent system, which forms the core logic engine. And this is what Satya Nadella very clearly put across, saying, hey, this is the core logic engine. And your database sits at the bottom, which just becomes a system of record for you. And you have a UI on top, which just becomes a very thin layer of what your UI, how do you interact with the agentic world? If you move to the Replit world, your UI and your prompt layer is intertwined. So for you to go back and change and debug, it gets a bit difficult. So this is the primary difference. Replit is fantastic for vibe coding and building something, but when you're looking at improving and handling this at scale, you need to still have developer support coming in. But when you follow the framework model, we are now separating these three layers, which is how Lyzr comes into picture. So if you're a product manager, you can head to studio.lyzr.ai, start building your initial first agent, and you will see that agents are far more easier and intuitive to manage your backend. It's very important to manage your backend because that's where the logic sits. You don't have to push all the logic to the front end now. Your front end just does what it's supposed to do. Just be a front end. I don't want to. You don't want to have your logic in the front end done. So this is how we see these two worlds very differently, and two different approaches definitely, and both of them works for anything that is short and sweet. Probably Replit or a one-time thing, Replit would work. But anything that you want to be in production and you want to have it for a longer period, manage the backend continuously, improve and change logic, then platforms like Lyzr would work.
Got it. Fantastic. And I think so. I've been personally trying to toy around with, Lovable and of course Cloud and other tools, and been trying to just come up with Chrome extensions just to begin with, right? Just passion projects of sorts. What's what's happening is I get to probably 80-85% of the entire thing, and then like you mentioned, I probably need developer assistance, or I'm not able to debug myself because I probably don't understand it well enough, right? No matter how well you are at prompting, you would still need to understand some bit of technicality, right? Do you think that problem is solved with Lyzr? And as a follow up to that, I've been reading about it, but people who wipe code products don't generally think about stuff like security or scalability or data production or stuff like that. So how do you tackle these two things?
Yeah, that's vibe coding is like fast food. Good, have fun, but you need to come back to home food anyway, end of the day. So, but it is very important, right? Vibe coding is taking the reach of AI and self-serve model to a lot of folks. What you experienced with vibe coding using Claude and Lovable exactly is what every other vibe coder is experiencing. Now I used Lovable for a week. Now I stopped using it. I canceled the subscription because now just GPT alone is doing the job again. I still use Cursor directly, but really nothing against the platform. Platform is fantastic. My team still uses it. My team also uses Bolt, and now they have at least 5 or 6 other platforms that have come out as well. But and I don't know if you saw the story. There was this vibe coder in Twitter who actually built a platform, launched it, even had his first sale that he was managed, and he the only mistake he did was he said, "I'm a vibe coder. I don't know this, and this is my code." People started breaking his code left, right, and center. He had to shut down his startup not even a startup, the project, whatever he was doing, within a week's time. So that is the issue, which is you don't know what you're even getting into. Um, you cannot scale the system. That is the issue with vibe coding. But from a product management point of view, it is fantastic because you go from an idea to a concept with vibe coding really fast, take it to the respective stakeholders, get the sign off, and now move on to platforms like Lyzr to build out the whole structure now. Okay, I can now convert this into an agentic situation where I can see all the workflows, I can see all the agents, all the orchestration, which is where the core logic is, and then I build a UI on top in order to bring this whole thing to life. So it is a cycle, and all of these technologies play a very key role. I still feel that vibe coding is far more useful to developers in the long run because you can have certain components built sorry, using vibe coding platforms. But yeah, this is what you faced is absolutely true. It is you're not alone. It's good for 0 to 1, but when you go from 1 to 10 or 10 to 100, you need to start looking at different systems.
Since I'll give Lyzr a shot, and I'll encourage everyone in our community to try it out as well, because we continuously keep getting these questions, requests, etc., where they are building products, but they need some developer help to kind of push them off the edge when it comes to, shipping a good product, right? So we'll definitely give it a try. Have you seen any popular examples of multi-agent workflows that have been successful? Have you seen people building a couple of agents and building workflows around it?
Several ones, right? What comes to top of my mind is recruitment agent. So this multi-agent system does a lot of things. To begin with, it can take a very vague requirement coming in from a manager and convert that into a high quality job description. So which is something that recruiters face as a problem. They normally get vague requirements and they need to sit and write the JD, etc. So now the agent can do that, number one. Once it does it, it can post on behalf of the recruiter on several job platforms, and then the application starts coming in. Or the recruiter can connect it to an ATS, an application tracking system. So when the application starts coming in, the agent starts reviewing these resumes to first see a fit. Okay, does it fit the JD? Now, once it sees the fit, it shortlists. There is shortlist number one. Once it shortlists, it then looks at the evaluation criteria, the additional evaluation criteria that the hiring manager would have shared. And based on the evaluation criteria, it comes up with its own scoring and then takes the shortlist number two. So imagine if 10,000 applications come in, it gets to 2,000 applications in round one, and then it takes down to further 500 applications in round two. Once it does, the agents now can do a voice interview with the candidate based on, again, set of things that the hiring manager really want to understand, and it further takes down from 500 to say probably 100 or even 50 that the hiring manager should speak to. And then the agent looks at the hiring manager's calendar and sets up meetings automatically by exchanging emails with the candidate. And now the hiring manager gets on a call, speaks to the candidate, interviews, and you would have seen this in the industry. As a hiring manager, they go back to their job, they forget sharing this updates to HR in real time. So the agent also follows up with the hiring manager now. In addition to analyzing the transcript of what happened during the call, it also gets the feedback from hiring manager and puts out a final report. So this whole thing is now automated with a multi-agent system. Your load on recruiters have come down drastically, including all the way from sourcing profiles from evaluating profiles, um, and from I would say following up with hiring managers, analyzing the transcript, the whole workflow is automated now. This is a good use case. Similar use cases in sales outreach, marketing outreach. These are all functional ones. What really is even more intriguing is when multi-agent systems are applied in the business side of things. Like we recently did a project for a large bank, which is to automate customer onboarding process. So when you go to a bank, you write an application form, you give it to the agent person. Now the agent receives it instead of a person. It converts, it does OCR on top of it, converts the data into raw text. Then it extracts the critical information. Okay, who's the person? Siva. Where is he in New York? And it kind of extracts my social security number and etc. And based on that, it does a anti-money laundering check. Okay, who is Siva? Who's the company? Is there any litigation against him? It goes and checks various government databases to see if there is any litigation. And once it has done its check, then number three is to initiate the account creation. It writes an invitation letter and generates account creation formalities for me. So this is something we did for a bank. Pretty interesting use case, and there are more such use cases on the business side of things as well. So yeah, I mean, it's these are several examples we have. I think in the last 3 months alone, we have kind of got to about 120 plus blueprints. All these are blueprints, by the way, and these blueprints would be soon available on Lyzr platform for anyone, even product managers, to just go. Imagine if you are thinking about, say, ebook generation, ebook writing as a use case. You will have a blueprint available. Go there, look at the blueprint, click on run. It'll immediately run with synthetic data, and in one click, clone it into your environment and give your data, and you will see that the agent is now writing ebooks for your organization, your brand, your product. So this is how we are moving forward. All these workflows will be available as blueprints in the system shortly.
Wow, this is amazing. I think the examples that you gave were so insanely complex, and all of it is fully built with Lyzr already.
Yes, fully built on Lyzr, completely built on Lyzr. Some of the workflows need a lot more deterministic
Sure,
aspects as well.
sure.
So where you can interchange or use a combination of AI agents with code agents or machine learning agents. So that is also possible on Lyzr. If you have machine learning algorithms running on Sage makers of the world, you can integrate via the data connectors that we provide. So that is also possible on Lyzr. So we are not
Amazing.
necessarily restricting the usage just to say AI agentic scenarios. So you can also go after far more deterministic and workflows which needs a lot more accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is amazing. I think some of the systems are so intricately complex, and if an agent can solve for a lot of manual work, manual effort, and in some cases, I think these are not even manual, but the agent itself understands it and then does it so well. So it's amazing. I'll check it out. I'm waiting for the template library as well, the blueprint library that you mentioned. I think templatization is super important and
Yes.
helps everyone get started easily. So looking forward to that as well. Another big question, Shiva, from our community is how do you think about product building with enough differentiation from the bigger companies, right? Now you see that uh, giant companies with almost infinite cash flow, right? The likes of Google and OpenAI can literally ship a new version and kill hundreds of startups, right? What happened with, say, the new image generation tool that ChatGPT did that kind of killed a lot of image generation startups which were at its nascent stage, right? How do you actually go about building enough differentiation and start thinking about your moat from day one? Uh, and because AI, the world of AI is moving so fast that a new update can basically evaporate a lot of startups, right? So how do you go about thinking about enough differentiation and building moats as a AI startup?
Building a product now is super easy. That is pretty clear, right? Cursor is making it easier, and there are a lot more clones of Cursor available already. Open source version of Cursor is available. But Cursor has a head start. That is why they are moving from what 200 million to 300 million ARR now in just another couple of weeks' time. But that head start is not possible for every startup. So how do you handle it? By going deeper. So my suggestion is, and what we are doing at Lyzr is also to go deep into certain categories which your competitors will not get into, or larger companies will not get into. So, or larger companies, it's not that cannot get into it, but they will not, because they are large ships. They're already kind of too big to go down the path. Why did Google take so much time to bring a Perplexity equivalent? By the time they came up with, I would say, an equivalent, Perplexity was already up and running. They are $100 million ARR company already. So, I think that is the advantage that startups could have, or product managers could have, of smaller and mid-sized companies, which is number one, run really fast, ship really fast, which is an advantage, and number two, go deeper, which becomes a differentiation in whatever field that you're working with. Because larger companies with multi-million dollar budgets have good distribution, right? Tomorrow, if you see this company Glean.com, they got to 100 million ARR really fast. But now Microsoft is launching a Glean competition, and all of a sudden, just within a year, Microsoft will be a $4 or $5 billion business, just a Glean equivalent, and their product could be probably just one-tenth the quality. But given the distribution, they can obviously go. Now, what could Glean do? Can Glean go deeper? Can Glean launch a pharma version of the same, a media version of the same, a banking version of the same? So that is how Glean could think about it. And I'm pretty sure they will have their own battle cards ready. But yeah, so go deeper and ship really fast. So these are the two things that will be able to that will help you to take on these larger ones. And the third one that we are seeing and pretty interesting is the UA UX aspect of it. Today, a lot of banks and insurance firms are working on Lyzr, not only for the core technology that we built in terms of making agents safe and responsible, but also the user interface. People love what we built on Lyzr. The user interface is something that they all like, and that is also another edge that you can have over larger companies.
Right, thanks for answering that. That clarifies a lot of things. And the point about going deeper, I think that is something that, like you rightly said, bigger companies can't afford to do, or probably won't focus enough towards, right? And the Perplexity example again is perfect in this domain as well. Another thing that what we have been seeing is, since more than a decade now, after the mobile revolution happened, smartphones happened, apps started getting built. The way products were built has been pretty much stagnant in the last decade or so, right? It hasn't, by stagnant, I don't mean that there hasn't been innovation, but the look and feel and the way products are built is pretty much have stayed similar until ChatGPT happened, right? It was a completely new interface. It was a chat interface, but it was a completely new way in which we were interacting with a product, right? How do you think, you mentioned that product building will become easier now, right? How do you think products will change down the line? If I'm a founder building, say, a consumer product or a B2B product or whatever, right? If I'm building something new, how should I think about product building at its core? What new way should I think about?
Conversational is going to be the new way that everyone is going to interact with the product.
You mean
Uh,
voice or just conversational?
voice,
Voice.
both chat and voice. You need both options. Whenever they are not in a public setting, they will use voice. They'll always prefer voice. If they're in a public setting, like traveling in a train or in an office meeting, they will go to chat. It is same as that, right? So think of your product with a conversational first scenario, not the other way around. Then it becomes very murky and difficult for your product to be adopted. So that is number one, the first very design rule that comes in the AI era. And number two is user interface again. Don't try and blindly follow the chat GPT style, because then people subconsciously will not be able to relate to what your product is. Have elements that kind of differentiate yourself from a chat GPT interface or a Perplexity interface. So UI UX also plays a huge role in how you bring this to life. There is no one hard and fast rule, but I think these are the two critical aspects that you might have to look at in this new era of product development. And number three, users also ask for freedom of choice, so allow them to choose or switch between large language models in the backend, because eventually even it all goes to large language model and comes out, right? There's an input out and there's an output that comes out. So give the choices as well. These are all some of the design considerations that you can have in mind. But the most important of all is make it conversational and make it voice ready.
Very interesting. And let's take it even deeper here, right? The three principles that you mentioned, and conversational being the base of it. What's your favorite product? Any favorite mobile app product?
Yeah, I like 11 Reader a lot. It does
11
fantastic.
reader, is it?
11 Reader, yeah, 11 Reader by 11 Labs. It does
Okay.
beautiful for transcribing any web page in a audio format which I can listen to. So
Mhm.
instead of Audible, now I use 11 Reader a lot. I like Whisper Flow on my MacBook,
Mhm.
so I can do voice dictation
I've been
instead
a
of
big fan
typing.
of Whisperflow as well,
Whisper
so
Flow,
it is
yeah.
game changing here.
Definitely. Then again, what is the other product? I like Leonardo for image generation, but still I'm not super happy with. I think with GPT-4o image generation coming out, I've started using GPT-4o more than Leonardo, which is what GPT is doing, right? It is actually just killing softwares left, right, and center. Um, Definitely fell in love with Lovable and Bolt, both the platforms. Hard to pick one, but now there are more clones, so I don't know where. I don't know what I don't know how can I describe my sentiment on that. I like Windsurf. It allows me to. I don't know React. I know Python. I know databases, SQLs, etc. I don't know React. So Windsurf bridges that gap for me definitely. So these are some of the favorite products that I use that is always running on my laptop.
Uh, per- Perfect. I think these are great AI products, and I was about to ask your favorite AI products. But what I wanted to dig deeper was on some non-AI product. Maybe let's say a traditional, for example, let's say DoorDash or Uber, or let's pick a traditional product, anything that you particularly like, and apply these three frameworks that you spoke about, right? How do you rethink that product, keeping, say, a conversational UI in mind, or
Yeah, I will look at
uh,
Uber Eats. Uber Eats is
yeah,
similar to Zomato that we have in
yeah,
India,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
I definitely wanted to be more conversational style where
How
I
do you
can.
rethink it from a conventional POV?
Exactly, right. I mean, I would want to probably, I want the app to be aware of my food choices. I also want the app to discourage me saying, "Hey, I don't think you liked this food last time," and I see the reviews that this food is always oily. So I would probably recommend something else. So I want apps to be far more intelligent. They have a lot of data that way to give me more choices. It's not in their best interest, to be honest, and I don't know whether they'll do it. But I would definitely, I would be happy to pay. Like for example, my monthly subscription to Uber Eats is like $99 or something. I would be happy to pay probably another $200 more if Uber Eats can give this additional aspects to me, saying allowing me to not only order great food and eat, but also uh, keep in mind my preferences and health choices. Number one. So that is how I would probably rethink this platform. Similar, same thing goes to airline, United Airlines. I often fly. A very similar thought process there as well.
Right. Do you think, I think you touched upon paying a premium to make the app more intelligent in a way. Do you think ad-supported business models are out of the way, and premiumization of products are the new business model, like the new big business model?
Yeah, I agree. Right? I mean, I think we always hated ads, be it even when watching a movie or watching a cricket game or etc. We always hated ads. The ad support business is definitely going out of favor. Uh, Even as kids, we always hated ads that play when we watch a favorite movie during a festival season, right? So people are ready to pay premium for not only going ad free, but mostly for the additional AI feature that they could bring into the platform. When ChatGPT took their price from $20 to $40, I paid. When they took it from 40 to 200, I paid because I want the latest models available. And I think when Perplexity started introducing ads, I said no, like don't do it. I'm ready to pay another $20, but I just want access to information really quickly. Why is Zepto very popular in India at the 10-minute grocery? Because people just want everything immediately, instantly, right? As a herd, we are kind of pushed towards that mindset. So definitely, ad-based model is going out. It is still very good for, I think, a segment of people who don't want to purchase or who cannot purchase the additional premium plan. But unfortunately, even for the organizations or companies who are sponsoring those ads, they are not there buying market anyway. So I think this whole business model is kind of has to be rethinked. Organizations will have to look at other effective ways to reach their customers, not through ads.
Totally, I have similar viewpoints as well. I think ads were always a way to subsidize what's available for free, and platforms like say Instagram or WhatsApp would never have been able to reach that scale if not for ads. But
Correct.
like you said, yeah, people are more willing to shell out money to get a premium experience, and there'll always be a space where it'll be ad supported. So
That's correct.
thanks for sharing your thoughts. What do you think product folks should be preparing for in the next 6 to 12 months, right? If I were to look at just a year back from now, the world was completely different, right? 2 years back from now, when probably ChatGPT didn't exist or was in its very early stages, the world was very different. What do you think product folks, especially or founders, should prepare for the next 6 to 12 months? And how do you think they should continue evolving at a pace that will catch up with all the new progress that's been happening?
Yes. Number one, get really good at prompting. There is literally no alternate.
Any practical tips that you recommend?
I would say Google released a prompt engineering guide that is fantastic. There is, I think, prompt engineering guide.com or .io, I think. That is a very good repository of all the prompting techniques. And just I mean, get into Reddit groups and Discord groups to just look at all the latest possible or latest techniques that people have been using. You will find some of the golden prompts that you could use. So definitely one. So there are I think enough I would say resources available to get good at prompting. But just getting that is important. So prompt engineering is like doing a MBA in marketing now. Doesn't matter where you do it. That is as simple as that, right? Number one. Number two, get good at understanding agents. Agents are here to stay. We are seeing that it's very clear as day and light. Understand the concept of agents, concept of orchestrations, and become and really master it. That is number two for product managers. And number three, follow latest news. Subscribe to some of the popular AI newsletters. Follow news follow the right people on Twitter, on LinkedIn who's educating something, who's telling you, bringing you new information, so that you continue to absorb. You don't have to take any action. Just keep absorbing. Just keep absorbing. It will come in handy at the right time. Your brain cells will work in the right way to tell you, oh, you know what? Do you remember something happened here? So it'll kind of bring you the right information whenever you need. And four, don't get I would say exhausted with the amount of new AI technologies coming in. Embrace it, which is always very difficult for us humans because we don't like change. That I mean, all of these things. We want to kind of life to be in a steady state before we move on to a different stage. But AI is not allowing you to settle down, unfortunately. So just embrace for it. Take on new technologies. Try out new technologies. So these are the four things I would say. At least that's keeping me intrigued and busy and moving forward. But the basics are very important. Your basics are your prompt engineering and your agent building. So get that in place.
Fact, I think this is a perfect way to wrap up this amazing conversation. But we have like a quick rapid fire for you.
Yeah.
Just quick one-liners. What do you think the next big use case in AI?
I think personal productivity is going to be very big. Every individual will have their own mini Pokemon type agents in and around themselves to make their day much more easier, be it at home or be it at office. you need your agents to make your life easier. That is definitely a very big space. The personal agents.
Great idea. What's your favorite non-popular AI tool? I know you named a couple of AI tools, but what's something that's not popular yet?
WhatsApp still, still on WhatsApp, speaking
No,
to
I meant
people.
non-popular AI tool.
No, okay. What is a non-popular AI tool that people don't
Yeah.
know a lot about? Granola is something that I like a lot. I use it for meeting as a meeting note taker on my MacBook. So not very popular with a lot of people, but Granola is something that I really love.
I personally love Granola as well. I think you mentioned Flow earlier. Great tool, both Granola and Flow.
Yes.
Which PM tool do you think needs an AI update?
I mean, I'll start even with Asana to be honest. I mean, all these Asana is still a $600 million
Yeah,
recent company, still needs an update. The whole uh, project management and product management tools need a different, I would say, take. Um, I think Linear and few other companies are better positioned,
yeah.
but still, unfortunately, they already have a lot of baggage around. So it's a fantastic opportunity for PMs to uh, kind of think about their own life and come up with new products that could see a rapid adoption. Definitely, there's a lot of scope.
Great. I think I've been seeing a lot more people solving for their personal problems now because it's become easier to build products, right? So people aren't just building products to ship it out to others, but use it for their personal selves, like you mentioned. So earlier. That's great. What do you think PMs often get wrong about AI?
I mean, it's easier to fall in the negative side of the Venn diagram, saying it won't work, it's not worth my time. All these efforts will go down the drain. There is some bit of negativity that PMs use as a reason, but please don't do that. You don't know what's happening with Goldman Sachs. You don't know what's happening at MasterCard. We are seeing the day in and day out. When these large multi-billion-dollar organizations are embracing AI and making things, building things, there is no reason why, as a PM, you should not adopt AI in a big way. So that is definitely something that PMs are missing out by kind of looking on the negative side of things. So that's something that I would definitely want PMs to really think about and change. Have a positive attitude towards AI. You will just see good things, and mostly even for your career or for founders, you will see you will move to stage 2 and 3 pretty soon.
Awesome, makes sense. Who do you think will win the AI war? Google, OpenAI, Microsoft? Any key? I know it's a subjective question, but if you were to take a bet against just one company that you think will lead the AI war, who will it be?
Yeah, I think from our vantage point, we work very closely with all these players, but OpenAI will win through innovation and Microsoft will win through distribution. They both are better positioned. Uh, Google has all the technology, but their execution is absolutely poor. I'm not sure if they will they will have some market share like what they did on Google Cloud. I don't think they're going to win. At least if they don't change their execution style, it's very hard for them to win.
Yeah,
Amazon will always be startups' darling, and Amazon AWS will do what they do. But from a technology standpoint, I think OpenAI will definitely win. The other silent winner would be Llama, Meta. Meta will continue to disrupt the space. They are the pain to OpenAI, to be honest. Um, so they are also another big winner in and around. But all these winners are we are seeing at a software stack layer. But then you have the hardware winner, Nvidia's and
yeah, yeah.
AMD's, right? Intel's. Intel will try and do something now probably, but these are also winners at the hardware side as well. But yeah, I think AI, the larger organizations are well set to further expand the gap that they have with their competitors. It depends on how well they execute.
Right. What's your go-to AI tool on a daily basis?
Still GPT, Chat GPT. It is still Chat GPT. Chat GPT is my to-do list. I have a to-do thread on Chat GPT. I have a ideation thread in Chat GPT using different models. Chat GPT is still my go-to. In a day, if I use Chat GPT 20 times, I'll probably use Perplexity a couple of times only. So yeah, and Claude probably I'll use 3 or 4 times. This is apart from obviously using
Yeah,
Windsurf and other platforms. Um,
right.
Equal, the only other tool that I use as good as or as equal as ChatGPT is Lyzr. So I have many of my personal agents running on Lyzr,
Agents, right.
like my proposal builder, etc. So after a customer call, I just copy paste the transcript, and the agent, my proposal agent, writes the proposals. If there is any longer email that I need to write, I brainstorm with my agent. It writes I would say email for me and emails it. So I think the only equivalent is to ChatGPT is Lyzr that I use today.
Yeah, fantastic. I think once you set up enough workflows, it kind of really changes the game. So that makes sense. Last question. What's on advice to your younger self? Say if you were 20-year-old, what would be advice? Not career advice, just general advice.
Yeah, I mean, career advice I can immediately think of, which is become
Maybe
a full
one
stack.
career and one general then.
Yeah, career advice is like become a just continue to get better at coding. Don't stop with back end. Get your front end skills as well as good as possible. One non-career advice would be things will things always change. Just relax and focus on the long-term things. It'll always change, and I think I'm kind of getting there. But if I can say this to my younger self so that um, I don't have to. I can probably chill a bit better, bit more, to be honest.
Absolutely. Thanks, Shiva. This was a great conversation. I had a ton of fun chatting with you, and you were super candid with your insights and super honest about everything. So thanks for that. I'm sure people who are building products, founders, etc., will find a lot of value in it. Where can people find you? Are you mostly available on LinkedIn, Twitter? Where can people find you?
Yes. No, it was fantastic having me here. Thanks for having me here, and fantastic speaking to you, and for all the great questions. I'm available on LinkedIn. You can find me there under my name, Siva Surendra. Twitter, I'm not super active, but LinkedIn definitely is. And yes, we just log on to studio.lyzr.ai and let us know what you want us to improve, and we'll definitely work on it. That is another way to reach out to us as a customer or as a user. We are always ears to our customers and users.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Shiva. I'll personally try out Lyzr and let you know my feedback, but I highly encourage everyone in our community to give it a shot as well. Best way to learn is to actually build. So I highly encourage everyone. But thanks again, Shiva. Thanks for taking out super early morning for you in New York. But thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thanks, Aditya. Take care.
Thank you.